one thing I did forget about for the patient who aspirated, likely on his own secretions and a cantaloupe fruit, not juice. He wasn't drinking juice. Cantaloupe fruit is when we suction and did right main stem intubation on purpose and pulled back, there was some frothy blood. Luckily, the patient's not anticoagulants or has no bleeding disorders or any antiplatelets, and that eventually resolved over time. You got to be very confident in what you just did. If I bagged this patient, he kept being hypoxic and never had a SAT going above 80, I would have been very afraid that the bolus of fruit would have been above the Carina and he would have been dying despite intubation, despite the tube passing past the glottic opening, the cords, by 2 centimeters, like how anesthesia recommends. He would have been dying. So I had to live with that decision. The patient was suctioned. That pink frothy stuff came up, and it wasn't juice. It wasn't cantaloupe colored either. So definitely have to suction afterwards aggressively. You probably do that very poorly. And guess what? When you suction the airway, down the larynx, afterwards you can find sometimes spaghetti, meatballs, and that's how you know that the patient aspirated fruit or food particle, particulate matter. Make sense? And such as it's dry. Maybe it's a dry interstitial pneumonia, not a purulent, gelatinous, jelly-like sputum that's going to be coming up. It helps a lot. So a lot of us don't. We rely on respiratory to do it, and then we find out from respiratory, wow, a lot of stuff's coming up. We should be doing that almost every intubation. Make sense? Especially if it's a respiratory issue. It's airway protection, head trauma, prophylactic intubation with hemodynamic instability. If there's lung issues, you should really do your own suctioning and know your own diagnosis. It doesn't hurt to send off the sputum, especially if it's if you think it's an infectious thing. But this looks like aspiration pneumonitis. Gave antibiotics, covered for aspiration, Zocin, plus or minus flagyl. Cefepime could have worked. Timentin, Unison would have worked. So be mindful. Do not forget to suction afterwards. And guess what? If the hypoxia had persisted, I would have done a CAT scan of the lung, and then I probably called CT surgery if pulmonary can pull out this bronchus plug, especially if the SATs did not improve. But after we sedated the patient, it was kind of hard to sedate them. I did give fentanyl to make them high as a kite and comfortable with the tube. He was still gagging, so I had to give him boluses of Ativan or midazolam. Patient's on 4 seizure meds, so I have a feeling he's resistant or has tolerance to benzos. Actually thought about switching that sedation analgesic to only benzos, like a midazolam drip, or just giving fentanyl with midazolam. But luckily I did have to paralyze him once, additionally after the sucks had worn off. And he did not fight the ventilator, and the SATs went up to 97%. Thank God. Thank God he did not go away ARDS from this. All right. And I think we did put a CAT scan order to make sure we didn't have and that the CAT scan did not show an esophageal tear or rupture or mediastinitis evidence, and no rupture of the stomach or the esophagus. Because remember, he had many times Heimlich maneuvers before he got to our intubation, and I wanted to make sure I didn't cause any iatrogenic injury to this patient. So this will be the part 2 video of that. It's probably part 3. I talked a lot already on the first part. So please learn from my cases so you don't repeat the same mistakes, or hope you repeat the same successes in your cases, in your shop. Please come back to school early. Bye-bye.